Kia ora, kouwho smitho. Nā mai ki te whare, welcome to the House. As I'm sure you know by now, the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi Bill, as it's properly named, has been killed by the House in the vote for a second reading. The debate prior to the vote was robust. In this program, we note the major party approaches in the debate with one example from each party. The first speaker on any bill is the MP or the minister in charge. In this case, that was ACT leader David Seymour, who wanted to tell every other party why they were wrong.
With the unelected parliament silent on the principles for 50 years, the unelected judges, the Waitangi Tribunal and the public servants have defined them instead. They say the treaty is a, quote, partnership between races. They say one race has a special place in New Zealand. The effects of these principles have become more and more obvious lately. We've seen a separate Māori health authority.
We're going to hear the balance of this speech and all others in silence.
You may not realise that this bill is a very rare beast in Parliament. Many non-government bills, like members' bills, are voted down, often at their first reading. Occasionally, government bills are abandoned, either by being discharged or just by vanishing to the bottom of the order paper, never to be seen again. But having dug through the hundreds of bills that the House has considered in the previous 5 parliaments, no government bill, other than this one, has been debated and then voted down in the House. Governments usually don't set themselves up for such masochism. The opposition, though, were very happy to help with that. Chris Hipkins focused more on National than he did on ACT.
Today, National and New Zealand First join the opposition to this bill. But, Mr Speaker, they can claim no victory, no virtue and no principle. They get no credit for finally starting to fight the fire they helped to ignite. Today, Mr Speaker, their votes will fall on the right side of the ledger, but they will forever be on the wrong side of history when it comes to this bill.
Green co-leader Marama Davidson did a pretty normal thing for a second reading and gave focus to the words of submitters.
Part of the reason why the people were not fooled at all by this bill is because we now have generations of understanding that te tiriti was always a dream from mine and your ancestors, the promise of peoples to take the best possible care of each other. And that is an iconic kōrero from Bishop Manuhuia Bennett, which actually needs to be the understanding of where we are going to.
The lead speaker for National was Paul Goldsmith, and he was playing defence.
We'll hear all sorts of hyperbole today, as we already have from the Leader of the Opposition, about how terrible it is for National to allow this bill even to be introduced. That is just froth and spray. Coalitions require compromises. National opposed the bill and would have preferred it not to have gone forward. ACT wanted to have the bill passed into the law. None of us got what we wanted. That is life under MMP. Our country is not so fragile that we can't withstand a debate about the role of the treaty.
For New Zealand First, Casey Costello sought to negotiate the narrow path between not supporting ACT's bill, but also not supporting the principles of the treaty as they are currently understood, or that there are any.
Despite the absence of any judge or academic being able to clearly define the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi, the ACT Party believed it could. Despite what has been suggested in the purpose of the bill, a legislation would have taken us back into the courts, which is the last thing this country needs. To put this issue before the courts is exactly what we needed to avoid.
And for Te Pāti Māori, the speaker was Hannah Rafiti Maipi Clark, who managed to attack both the bill and also the privileges action that's been taken against her and her colleagues for their haka at the first reading of this bill.
The real issue is not this bill, nor is it doing a haka or practising our Indigenous customs in Parliament. The real problem is that this institution, this House, has only ever recognised one partner, one culture, one language from one treaty? When will the rules of this House acknowledge the laws of this land, tikanga, and te tiriti o Waitangi? That is the real question of privilege here. At our darkest hour, we could have chosen to fight this, but we chose to survive this. This bill hasn't been stopped. This bill has been absolutely annihilated.
The Treaty Principles Bill was voted down by 112 votes to 11. You've been listening to The House. E te whakaranga koe ki te whare. This program is produced with funding from Parliament's Office of the Clerk. Mā te wā.